Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome back, or for the very first time, to the Farts and Crap Show, where we have a very special episode of Stick Tips, Current Generation Adapters. Now, as a disclaimer, this is not a complete list, as I didn't want to detail every adapter I have tried over the years, or even every controller that these adapters support. And even if I did, this video would be impossibly long. Additionally, some of these adapters will also work on PC, but I do not game on my PC extensively enough to provide helpful input, so I will not be reviewing those functions. The primary goal was to get a variety of controllers working flawlessly on my PS4 and Switch, as I don't like the DualShock 4 and would much rather use any number of controllers that are already in my collection. Also, for the most part, all of these adapters can be purchased via Amazon for the sake of convenience. This video is not sponsored, and I will not be leaving any affiliate links, so you can be sure these opinions are 100% my own and in no way influenced by any outside party. That being said, let's rock. So, the first adapter on this list is the very oddly named Brook Wii/Wii U/NS/PS4 to NS/PS4/PC Super Converter. Before I get started on this thing, these opinions are based on the current firmware version 1.4, which was released in August 2020. This adapter is very odd, from the naming convention to the supported devices to the consistent support via updated firmware to add controllers and features. I love this thing. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of the Wii or Wii U controllers. However, there are a few exceptions, namely the PDP Fight Pad and the Classic Controller Pro. Thankfully, this adapter works in tandem with another adapter on this list, mainly because it's the only hardware adapter on this list, but I'll get more into that later. Even greater still, this thing lets me use my 8BitDo SN30 Pro Plus on my PS4 Pro, so the fact that they can pro it up is incredible. This adapter also supports motion controls for the controllers that have that function, so yes, you can use a DualShock 4 for Breath of the Wild, or a Switch Pro controller for Detroit Become Human, if you're into that sort of thing. If this adapter sounds like your cup of tea, you can usually find it on Amazon.com or ArcadeShock.com for an MSRP of $40. Moving right along, we have the 8BitDo PS Classic adapter. This adapter straight up did not work with some of the controllers that were described in its compatibility list seen here. I contacted 8BitDo about this issue, and they said firmware would be coming to correct it and ensure compatibility as described, which to my knowledge never happened. After I found out a modded PlayStation Classic can natively use a bunch of different controllers, including my 8BitDo SN30 Pro USB, I returned this thing. So, the next one we have to look at is the 8BitDo G-Bros adapter. Now, to preface what I think about this adapter, I do not have a decent GameCube controller, so I cannot comment on what I think about that functionality. The firmware on this one is version 2.24, and that will likely never change, since it hasn't since December of 2019. This adapter shares one important distinction with the Brook adapter with the weird name. They can both be used for a Wii Classic controller in wired mode on the Switch. This device itself features a micro USB port for updating firmware and wired mode functionality, a Wii Classic controller port, a GameCube port, and runs on 2 AA batteries for wireless Bluetooth connectivity or USB power when in wired mode. The unit also adds a home and capture button, since most of the controllers this was designed for didn't have those inputs, a toggle for changing between Switch and X input modes, and a yellow sync button for connecting via Bluetooth. This adapter works amazingly well with the Switch, and I think it's a fantastic and versatile device for $20. Now next we have some of the controllers you can use with the G-Bros, and next we actually have the Brook 360 to PS4 adapter. Now this one did work for using my 8BitDo SN30 Pro USB on the PS4, but there was always a variable amount of lag, making performance inconsistent at best and ultimately unusable. This adapter was promptly returned. And next we have the Hyperkin SNES to Wii adapter. Now, to those of you that just cringed when I said Hyperkin, give me a second. Now this is the only hardware adapter on this list, and I absolutely love it for that. I've already done a Stick Tips episode on this device, so if you want a more detailed look at it, I'd watch that. With the Hyperkin SNES to Wii adapter, no firmware will ever be needed. It simply converts a SNES controller port to a Wii Classic controller port, and that's pretty amazing, and all I have to say about it. It just works. Next we have the Mayflash Magic S Pro. Now there are a couple variations of the Mayflash Magic adapter, but the S Pro is the latest revision, so that's the one that I looked at. Now this adapter was a strange case, as I have read numerous reviews on Amazon, Reddit, YouTube, various places, that this adapter was quite very good. This device also indicates that it works on PlayStation Classic and Genesis Mini, but both of mine are modded, so I can natively use a bunch of different controllers, so I didn't try that. What I did try is using my 8BitDo controllers on my PS4 in both wired and wireless modes, and they had similar issues to the Brook 360 to PS4 adapter, so it was promptly returned. Now lastly we have the Brook Wingman XE. Now the Brook Wingman XE sounds like a fantastic deal for people that have been Xbox customers for a couple generations and have their favorite Xbox controller that sees regular use. However, I'm not one of those people, and I have to review this device from my perspective. To be fair, this adapter's latest firmware was version 1.1 when I tried it out, and it didn't recognize the SN30 Pro USB or my M30 2.4G or my SN30 Pro Plus in wired modes, so it was promptly returned, as my weird Brook adapter I mentioned earlier works well with my SN30 Pro Plus. Excellent. So that is the end of the scripted section of this video, and we got through in less than 10 minutes. Less than 9 minutes, actually. So that's quite good. Now, in conclusion, would I recommend some of these? The Brook Wingman XE? Yes. If you have a couple of different like Xbox controllers, the compatibility list on this thing is huge, and the Wingman converter line is kind of their updated final versions of some of the previous adapters that they've made. So this one basically replaces the 360 to PS4 converter, essentially. And the Mayflash one, I know some people have Mayflash adapters that work well for them. Sorry, I couldn't get mine to work well at all. The G-Bros adapter I use very frequently, actually. We have two of these, actually, because Jade has one for her Switch, and I keep one connected to my Switch like at all times. And I don't even put batteries in this. I just keep it connected with micro USB to USB-A into the dock, and so I have basically a Smash Bros controller ready to go, like whenever, and I don't have to worry about batteries or any sort of thing like that. So, or latency. So for 20 bucks, if you just need an adapter for your Switch and your PC, the G-Bros adapter is really good. I didn't used to use this one that much because I didn't really like the Bluetooth limitation of it, and I was always having like variable amounts of input lag. Now that's probably due to my gaming environment, just having a lot of different electronics and like different signals and stuff that, you know, anything electrical has some sort of interference that it can introduce into your gaming setup. So I prefer wired as much as possible. However, this does not work with a bunch of controllers that the weird one works with. Plus, this will work on your PlayStation 4 if you're like me and you play on both. I mean, this is huge. Plus, you can sync controllers to this adapter, whereas with the G-Bros adapter, you have to plug it in with either the GameCube port or the Wii Classic controller port. Now, this does have a Wii Classic controller port on the front, which is for that wired mode functionality, which is the only wired mode for this one. But wirelessly, it works with a ton of things, and like I mentioned, it also supports motion control, so that's pretty impressive. I think as far as like getting different controllers to work with a bunch of different platforms, I do think this is the best one in the list. Now again, that's for me specifically, because I also am a Wii U owner, so I have some of the controllers that this thing supports. However, just for compatibility with my favorite 8BitDo controllers that are still readily available on the market and you won't pay over MSRP for, like a lot of other older generation Nintendo controllers like GameCube and Wii, and even the Wii U Pro controllers from Nintendo are so expensive these days. If you want to get new, if you don't care if it's been completely trashed, you can definitely get a better deal. But if you want to use like a GameCube style controller that is new and very good and actually has most of the inputs that you need, you could use the PDP Fight Pad, which was officially licensed for Smash for Wii U, or you could use the Hori Battle Pad, I think is what it was called, which you can still find new and is a very good GameCube style controller. And then you can use it on 3 different platforms: PC, Switch, PS4. So I'm just checking real quick to make sure that's the name of that one. They have the Switch Battle Pad, and I'm sorry, the music just cut out. That's my bad. Which is from Hollow Knight, by the way, which is a fantastic game. I'd highly recommend. And Switch Battle Pad for Wii U. Let's see, the Wii U version, yeah, it's not as readily available, so the prices are going up, unfortunately. And although I'm seeing a couple listings for less than $40. So if that style of controller is your cup of tea, I would highly recommend that, because Hori is known for their quality. And the only thing I wouldn't recommend this for, essentially, is if you need a controller that has clickable sticks, and if you really want that pretty standard cross button layout for your face buttons, for like your ABXY. The GameCube notoriously did not have that, However, this also has built-in turbo functionality, which is pretty cool. And actually, I don't own one of these, so I can't really say too much more about the quality here, but when you're buying a Hori controller, it's, you know, you're getting a good device, at least. Maybe not the best ever, but a good device. That definitely holds up against OEM, so... And actually, there are a few others that I would say are worthy. Oh, and also a stick tips update I want to put at the end of the thing here. So for a Wii U Pro controller, I mentioned those are getting very expensive, and they definitely are if you have if you don't like buying used, especially nowadays. Well, I guess actually for the GameCube controllers, if you want the most recent editions, I'm actually seeing that you can find some imports. Oh, these are used. Nope, that's new. Nope, those are back ordered. They don't have any. They don't have any. They don't have any. Okay. Never mind. For the most part, they don't have any. But I guess for the GameCube controllers, you can still find the most recent Smash Bros. Ultimate renditions for about $40 to $45 on Amazon if you look around a little bit. So that's not bad if you want like an official GameCube controller. That's the most recent like repro from Nintendo, if you want that first party like OEM. But yeah, the Wii U Pro controller from Nintendo is still very, very expensive. Let me see how much a new one would go for. Wow, some people are asking upwards of $250. So yeah, definitely not that. But finding a new Wii U Pro controller is getting pretty hard. That is not like third party, like a knockoff essentially, or officially licensed, because sometimes you can get a third party one that's not bad because it was officially licensed by Nintendo and various other reasons and blah 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 things. But yeah, as an update, I did put out a video on the PDP Afterglow Pro controller for Wii U, which in my teardown didn't really hold up that great because of just the way it was like manufactured together. It's not meant to be like taken apart, reassembled, all that stuff. But it is a very well-designed controller, and they are back in stock, so you can get one for less than $20 again, which is pretty great. And I believe that one was officially licensed, I want to say, by Nintendo. And also, if you look around and you don't care about getting a used controller, you can actually still get the classic controller for a pretty decent price if you don't care about getting used. But I usually don't talk about used controllers because I don't recommend it personally. But yeah, you can get an official classic controller unopened for about $50 now, so that's pretty good. It's not the classic controller Pro, but it's there. So classic controller Pros are still a lot more expensive. Let me give you guys an idea of price there. New is still about $115, $120, something like that. If you don't care about getting a used one, you can get one for sub 20, roughly. I personally have never even used the original classic controller. I do like the look of it. I like the form factor is more like a SNES controller with like the rounded back kind of thing. So yeah, I might even recommend that one over the other. The cable comes out of the bottom, so some people really don't like that. But I believe that is about all I have to say on all of those topics. So yeah, I'm going to get going, guys. Hope you found this video helpful or entertaining or any of those things. If you did, you know, be sure to click the things down there. But I'm gonna get going. Hope you have a beautiful day. Many blessings on your journey. And if you have a question, be sure to drop it in the comments. If I have any sort of input related to it, I'll let you know. If it's something I couldn't test, or something I just forgot to mention, I'll let you know. But yeah, so I'll be sure to leave comments enabled for this. Have a beautiful day. Thanks for stopping by. And until next time, drink some water, because you gotta stay hydrated. But bye now.